Welcome back to Go Gaddis Real Estate Radio right here on AM 920 The Answer. I'm Cleve Gaddis. I'm here to make real estate clear and simple and worry-free, but we do a lot more than just real estate. We support very important charities right here in Metro Atlanta, and we have a very, very special guest, one of the charities that we've been supporting for, gosh, I would say 10 or 12 years. I don't really remember how long, and some years it's a good bit, and some years it's just all we can scrape together, but we have been supporting is Rainbow Village. We have Melanie Connor, who I think is a Reverend, is also CEO of Rainbow Village. I would say you've got to be one of the most respected organizations in Gwinnett County, maybe even in all of Atlanta, supporting homeless families. But I did a little reading on you, and you worked for Coca-Cola at one point. You had a job with the state government helping with homelessness and housing and stuff like that. And I know that your sort of big kind of key words are stability and dignity and long-term transformation, and those things are all so exciting. But if you don't mind, I want to start with a very pointed question. You might even, when I ask this one, say that's not really a fair question for him to have asked in the first place, but I'm just curious. In some states and some cities throughout the United States, there is a ton of money that on the surface appears to be invested in homelessness. I have no idea how it works, and I'm not sitting in judgment of should we or shouldn't we, or is the money wasted. That's not what I'm saying. What I want to know is, to me, when I visit those cities, I don't see any difference from one year to the next and why is that? Why is it such a hard problem to deal with? Is that fair to start with that discussion first?
Well, I don't know if it's fair,
okay.
But it's a legitimate question.
Okay,
right?
good. Okay, and I think there are probably a lot of people who wonder that. And this is not me saying you guys don't do a great job, because I know what you do. I've seen it. I've met the families that are being served. But I think in so many cases, it's just people look at it and go, what are they doing? What's happening?
Yeah. Well, I think that the federal government, state governments are doing what they think may be the best thing, but they don't always have people who have boots on the ground in the rooms when they're discussing how to spend the money, where the money needs to go, those kinds of things. And oftentimes it seems, and this is just my personal opinion, that there are instances where cities and states and all that, they really just want to kind of clean up the look of things. So they want to put people, in housing somewhere so they're not on the street, so that people feel comfortable coming to visit and all that kind of thing. And doesn't always dig and start dealing with the systemic issues that are happening, nor dealing with the issues that the individuals have so they can get out of those situations.
So it makes perfectly good sense. I know when we had the Olympics here, Atlanta had a program where they were literally busing homeless people away from Atlanta just to kind of clean it up. But you take those people who have these issues, whether they're mental health issues or whatever the heck else is going on, and you send them to Birmingham, and they still have the same problems. I never thought about that. That's such an interesting thing. And thank you for being open enough to answer a kind of a pointed question to get it all started. But I would love to jump into now more of what you do. I believe that across the country, homelessness is it's still a big deal. And I can't even imagine. I've never been homeless. I cannot even imagine what it would feel like to not have a place to go lay your head down at night. Like that, to me, is almost an overwhelming thing for me to consider. But let's just talk a little bit about what is the work that Rainbow Village does. You're in Duluth. Just give us a little update.
Yeah, sure. So Rainbow Village provides, we say, help, hope, housing, and healing for families experiencing homelessness. And that really means that, one, we do provide housing. Doing work with homeless families and not providing housing is almost not really helpful.
Right.
So we have 30 apartments on our campus. We're building 36 more.
Is that the land I see cleared that's right next to you right now? Oh, wow.
Yeah, we started that project, and I hope to have those ready by the end of the year,
okay,
first of next year. But then we also support the families in other ways. We provide the mental health counseling, financial counseling, career and education counseling, so that when they leave us, they can stay with us for up to 2 years. And when they leave us, they're much better prepared to address the real situations that they had, rather than we give you somewhere to live for a few days and then we send you back on your way.
Mm-hmm. We did a tour, I don't remember how many years ago it was, and I met several of the families who were there. I actually met a couple of the sons of someone who had graduated from the program. And I'm just going to make up the name of a school, but it was like Northwestern University this kid was going to. I mean, a sharp, probably 16, 17, 18 years old, something like that. And so it seems to me that a lot of the families that are there are single parent families with moms, but that's not specifically, I mean, like you take full families, dads, moms, everybody, is that right?
Yeah, that's correct. We do have a majority single moms, but we have had and have single parents, single grandparents raising their grandchildren, couples raising their kids.
Yep.
So whatever the family unit looks like, as long as they have custody of at least one minor child.
Exactly. And then so it's kind of like going to school. It's like, hey, okay, now I'm in high school. I'm going to go through 4 years of high school, then I'm going to graduate. So what I thought was fascinating is we went into one of the apartments that I think was ready to receive a new family, I believe, that day. And so it had pots and pans, and it had diapers, and it had all kinds of cleaning supplies and toilet paper and mops and brooms. I don't remember all the stuff that was there. So you sort of set them up. So they have an apartment that I would say would be as nice, if not nicer, than your average apartment in the area. Would you agree with that?
No, absolutely.
Yeah.
And, that's part of, you mentioned earlier, just providing a sense of dignity for the family.
Yeah.
If you can imagine having lived in your car or in an extended stay hotel for months or weeks, then that, you to walk in and have all those things and know that it's yours, it's all brand new stuff that's yours, that you'll get to take with you when you leave, is just an amazing feeling. We see lots of tears when the families actually go into the apartments for the first time.
I bet you do, especially those who have not had any semblance of normalcy or balance or whatever in their lives, and now all of a sudden it's like, oh my gosh, I can shut the door and it's warm and I feel safe here, and I think it is in a really good location. One of the things that I have here in my notes is that there's some confusion about family homelessness in general, and you might have already touched on this, but where do you think people normally get that wrong when they think of family homelessness?
I think most people don't even think of family homelessness. I think they think of homelessness as the guy on the street with a sign, will work for food, or the guy laying on the side of the road, on the side of the sidewalk.
Yes.
But you don't think about a mom with her children, or a full family unit, or grandparents raising their grandchildren. And oftentimes that is because we don't see them. They're kind of part of that hidden homeless, which a lot of them, they live in their cars. They live in extended stay hotels, sometimes for years. I've actually met people that have lived in extended stay hotels for years. And so we call them hidden because you don't see them, you don't know that they're there. And so in some people's minds, okay, well, that doesn't happen. It's just the drug addict or the person with mental health issues. But it's people who are working every day, but just can't get ahead.
Can't get it together. So it's interesting, and I almost hate to admit this on the air, but I think in some cases I look at homeless people as this is going to sound so terrible, and I please don't want you to hate me for that, but as it being a self-induced problem. And I think that's what you're saying, is that's the mindset of a lot of people, that, hey, the people who are homeless are the ones who are causing their own problems. But in reality, that's not true, because I can't imagine, and I'm sure there's people who have mental health issues that would allow this to happen, but I can't imagine anybody that would purposefully let their kids be homeless. It just wouldn't, I just can't imagine that it would happen at all.
No, well, and especially in the business that you're in, that, housing costs have risen to points where even people who have decent jobs are struggling to.
That's exactly right.
Be able to afford housing. And then if you add groceries and childcare and all the other things that go along with it, all of it is very expensive. And if you have a job that is not paying a very high wage, then you don't really have enough to take care of all that stuff. And so, again, I have families who are working 2 and 3 jobs
just to keep
trying to take care of their business. And the other thing, Cleve, I would say is that anybody is really only one crisis away from this situation happening to them. It really has nothing to do, not everything to do with even your ability to get into a situation. We've had a nurse who got into a car accident, and then she couldn't go to work for a while, and so she lost the housing for her and her grandson. We've had a person working at the post office that had some things happen with her. We've had a family that the one spouse died and they couldn't afford to maintain the housing without two incomes. So all of those are situations where there was nothing that they did on their own. It was just circumstances and situations that happened, around them.
And I think you must be right. I read a report one time that talked about X percentage of U.S. households couldn't come up with $400. I'm probably not giving the right number, but couldn't come up with $400 to pay an emergency expense. And I would imagine in a lot of cases it's not because they choose to waste all their money. It's because they're spending all their money to live life the way they feel like they need to be for themselves and their families, which is probably not a very lavish lifestyle. We've got about a minute and a half left in this segment. Will you stay with me for another segment after this?
Yeah.
Okay, good. So can you tell everybody, if somebody's listening, they're a realtor or they're a homeowner in their area or whatever they are, they're listening anywhere, can you tell them how they could get involved and possibly support Rainbow Village?
Yes, absolutely. Best way is to visit our website at rainbowvillage.org. That has a lot of the information, contact information for volunteer opportunities and all of that. Love to have anybody who's interested to come and visit. We always love to do tours, so you can see the work in action. That's the best way to start, and of course calling our office, and we'll give any direction that we can as well.
Love it. If you're looking for a charity that takes the majority of the money that gets invested in it and spends it to deliver services to the community. Now, I'm not an expert in this, but I believe that Rainbow Village meets that qualification. And we support 3 charities, and it's always 3 charities. And I hate to say this every year, but Rainbow Village is just by far my favorite. Having met some of the families who live there, it's catchy. The enthusiasm for what is happening there and how people are being reinvented is just such an exciting thing. So we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we've got more with Melanie Connor of Rainbow Village. Stick with us. We'll be back.